Hello people, this is Nate EMG, welcome back to Neighbor News, and today we have a lot to cover, Nikita has been revealing a lot of new developer information, as well as some new videos that we're gonna take a look at. Season 2 of the Hello Neighbor cartoon now has a release date, and we're also gonna talk a little bit about my fan game HNER, and what's coming for the future. First of all, I just wanted to say thank you so much for 7,000 subscribers. It's pretty gnarly, not gonna lie, but it's really nothing that special. Anyways, going on to our first piece of news, Nikita has been going rogue recently. If you don't know who Nikita is, he is the creator of Hello Neighbor, and he's been very active recently on the Hello Neighbor Games Discord server. Now, you probably already know what I'm gonna talk about, judging by, if you've seen my last video. I mean, my last video got 10k views in 3 days. Obviously, people are very excited about the new stuff being revealed this week. I mean, going on to the obvious, the Hello Neighbor DevGam animation. The last video I uploaded, I kind of uploaded that in a rush. I didn't really think too much of it, mostly because I didn't really have time to make a proper detailed video about it. But now I'm here, and I might as well talk about it, Whilst talking and answering questions about Hello Neighbor's development, he actually went ahead and found the OG blend file for the Hello Neighbor DevGam animation, as it's widely known now, I suppose. I guess it's more like, it's better to call it the HN presentation. The presentation animation, or the pitch animation maybe is even better, because it wasn't necessarily made for DevGam. That's just where everybody saw it initially. But the animation was actually made to help, pitch his idea to Dynamic Pixels before they actually went ahead and made the game. So that's why that animation exists. And apparently he still has it, and he sent it to us. And then we downloaded it, and we went crazy over it. It's very interesting seeing this old piece of Hello Neighbor media, considering that this thing is also almost 10 years old. It's almost a decade old, and that's just crazy to me. Anyways, that's not the only thing that Nikita has revealed to us. He has also talked a little bit about Rumble on the Mill. Now, if you don't know what on earth that means, it's basically an unreleased version that was worked on around the time of Hello Guest, when that was being conceptualized or whatever. I think it was actually after Hello Guest Alpha 1. He posted a small video that he had made back in December of 2019 when this whole thing was being orchestrated. And it's pretty interesting to see, we haven't really gotten a good look at what Rumble on the Mill was at all, just some few screenshots here and there. But seeing this, in its full glory, right here is amazing for us who've been fantasizing about these unreleased builds and versions for ages. We really get to see what was being planned here, what was being tested. I think the main point of this map was to just test the AI and its features. That's pretty much what it seems like. Just a bunch of AI tests, seeing how the AI can navigate in certain terrain and how its functions will work in a much bigger world. Because I don't really think that was meant to be a final thing. I don't think that was supposed to be an alpha, just some kind of weird test thing. But then it's also weird to think why did they then post a bunch of teaser screenshots at the time of it? Maybe they didn't know where they were gonna go with it. They just posted a bunch of things without thinking about it. But to me, it's pretty interesting, at least, because Hello Neighbor 2 went through so many phases throughout its development and stuff like that. It's very interesting, seeing all of this that was being conceptualized at the time, and how that then evolved into the full game. It's always very interesting to see, and I'm very thankful for Nikita posting these videos and really showing us what was happening behind the scenes at the time. If you want to watch that full video, I'll have a link somewhere in the description where you can watch that full video, because a lot of people have already re-uploaded it onto YouTube, so I'm not going to be one to re-upload it. You can just watch it for yourself. But obviously, that's not everything that Nikita has been doing. No, but he's answered a lot of development questions that people have been having for freaking ages. Because there was a time where he wasn't active at all, and now all of a sudden he's coming out. He's being, as social as ever. I'm not going to go over every answer that he gave, but I'm going to go over some of my favorites that I handpicked. For starters, someone asked about late night shift, because there was, like, in Hello Guest Alpha 1, there was, like, a hidden logo, an unused logo for late night shift. I don't know exactly what the question was, but it was something relating to late night shift, because Nikita was constantly referring to late night shift when answering questions, so someone asked what that was about. And he said, I am referencing Hello Guest as late night shift, since it's what we called it during development. It's that version of the game inside the park after HDP, but before HN2 Alpha 1. I don't know if they were considering a name change, like maybe they like enjoyed late night shift as a name, but it ended up being called Hello Guest anyway, and apparently they called Hello Guest Alpha 1, they called it late night shift, or they referenced it as late night shift during development. Speaking of the game, my ideas for late night shift, aka Hello Guest Alpha, was kind of like an open world-ish suspense management game, where you explore an abandoned park, the park being essentially the open world, and figuring out its secrets in free roam while avoiding the guest as he tries to stop you from doing this. You earn money to get items that'll help you in exploring and protecting the park and yourself. Money is earned by managing and maintaining park safety from vandals. I didn't have enough experience back then to figure out how to make such a game, unfortunately. So I guess he had kind of more of like an ambitious plan to the whole entire thing, but he wasn't really as experienced back then to like actually take on such a concept, so that's kind of why, you know, it fell down the drain. So it gives like a little bit more insight as to why the Hello Guest concept was initially scrapped. Someone also asked the question about Quentin and Beatrix, because in the patch 9 Easter egg, if you've seen any of my previous videos, specifically this one right here, I found out that Beatrix and Quentin were actually siblings. So then someone asked if this was always the case, if they were always meant to be siblings, even in Hello Guest era. And then Nikita responded with, in Hello Guest, Beatrix and Quentin never met. They worked every other shift and never saw each other in person. They were supposed to interact with each other and build a connection by leaving notes for each other, up until the very last act of the game, where they would like come together or something in like an Avengers Endgame style way. I don't know, I'm just guessing. But that's pretty interesting, like Quentin and Beatrix like working together with each other in the story of the game. That would be really interesting to see. Or, I mean, would have been, like Hello Guest is long gone. Now, Nikita seemed to be very open about answering questions regarding Hello Neighbor. So people started asking him about the books, because people have been very confused about the whole book lore, because if you've never been in the community before, basically the games, the books, and the show all kind of contradict each other for some reason. People were very confused about that, so they assumed that the books are no longer canon, but then Nikita went ahead and said that they are canon, but not in a way you'd think. Someone said, the multiverse? And he said, nope, so it's not a multiverse, but they are canon. And that leaves me with very, very many questions. Someone also asked a question if the guest was supernatural, because throughout the different games, throughout the different Hello Neighbor games, we've seen the guest do some very strange things. But then Nikita came out and said that he was never supernatural, which kind of made people scratch their heads a bit and thinking like, well, what the hell is he? Moving on to Hello Neighbor 1 now. Someone actually asked a question about Hello Neighbor 1, because one of the most confusing aspects about Hello Neighbor 1 was Act 3, because people have always been presuming Act 3 as being just a dream. But people might have misinterpreted that one, because this is what Nikita meant with that whole situation. To be clear, it's a representation of internal struggle. I think it was meant to say internal and not international struggle. So basically the struggle the player has whilst beating Act 3 is the struggle that Nikki had battling with past trauma. In reality, such healing and battle takes months or years, but in the game it was compressed in a single night as an artistic interpretation. It begins with them having a panic attack and laying in an embryo pose on a sofa. But since in previous cases Nikki wakes up in a distress, waking up after Act 3 is finished is the first time he does this without distress. It's the first time in his life that he is content. That's why he wakes up, not because it's a dream, but to show that he's okay now. That's very interesting, seeing the actual developer's point of view of what Act 3 was meant to be. Yeah, but he answered a lot of different questions, and he's still, like, going on sometimes and answering different questions that people have about Hello Neighbor. He did answer a lot more than I initially covered, but I'm not going to cover all of the answers here today because, I mean, I'm going to be here forever talking about freaking Hello Neighbor. We gotta move on to everything else that we have to talk about today. This is Neighbor News after all. So, the second trailer for Season 2 of the cartoon also released around the same time that this whole, like, thing was happening. And we actually got some new information about when it's getting released, because at the end of the trailer it actually said this Halloween, which confirms that it's going to be in Halloween. That's when they're going to unveil it, which is very exciting because we've been waiting for a long while for Season 2 to be released. There was like an overwhelming, amount of positive reactions towards Season 1, and now everyone's stoked to see what Season 2 is all about, because apparently it's even better. But we have to wait until Halloween, so I guess that's almost like a month and a half away. But I guess people can, like, oh my god. People can, probably wait a little bit longer, like it's not that bad. Anyways, the last point that I wanted to cover is for HNAR. If you don't know what HNAR stands for, it's Hello Neighbor Alternative Reality, the game that now has over 1,000 followers on GameJolt, and that just seems like crazy to me. I know I've said multiple times before that I consider HNAR finished, but honestly, like, after the video that Bonifan made of the game, like, it sparked, like, a bunch of new ideas into mine, and I just went, like... So I've actually been working a lot on an update to Alternative Reality in collaboration with Jacket, who also works on Hello Neighbor 2 Alternative Reality and has made both of these mods. He's done a lot of level designing for the game recently, and he's revamped a bunch of areas, and I personally think it's going amazing so far, and I can't wait to show you what we all have been working on. But to be honest, I don't really want to say that much besides that. Now, if you want to see, like, more detailed posts on what I've been working on in regards to my games and stuff, then don't hesitate to join my Patreon, which I don't know which way I'm pointing, but my Patreon is up there. That's the link. The link will also be in the description, because I post a lot of stuff in regards to HNAR and HN2AR. You can join as a free member, but you can also join as a paid member for $3 a month and get even more stuff. So if you want to support the content I make, don't hesitate to join my Patreon. Honestly, $3 a month, it's not that much, People charge, like, way more for their subscriptions, So if you want to see more content like this, definitely leave a like down below. And also, comment down below what was the most interesting thing that you learned from this video, because honestly, I'm very interested to hear what you guys think. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you sometime in the future.